Stoic journey.
Hello, and welcome to this comprehensive exploration of how Stoic philosophy can profoundly transform the way you approach love and relationships. Specifically, how to foster a mature, fulfilling bond without slipping into unhealthy dependency. If you've ever found yourself overwhelmed by jealousy, anxiety, or a loss of personal identity in a relationship, you're not alone. Modern dating and partnership dynamics can be incredibly stressful, often amplifying our insecurities and emotional burdens. But imagine having a toolkit drawn from centuries-old wisdom that empowers you to nurture love from a place of self-awareness, emotional balance, and genuine autonomy. Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy, offers precisely that. Through its core principles, focusing on what you can control, practicing self-discipline, and cultivating inner virtue, you can learn to build relationships that are both deeply connected and free from toxic attachment. In this video, we'll dive deep into the key Stoic teachings relevant to love and personal growth, practical strategies for reducing dependency, anxiety, and emotional volatility, real-world examples of how individuals have successfully applied Stoic insights to cultivate healthier partnerships, long-term benefits of approaching love from a Stoic perspective, such as enhanced self-confidence, resilience, and authentic bonding. Before we begin, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll never miss any valuable content on personal development, Stoicism, and holistic well-being. Now, let's embark on a journey that could reshape how you love and connect with others while staying true to yourself every step of the way. A brief overview of Stoicism. Stoicism originated in ancient Greece, around the early 3rd century BC, founded by Zeno of Citium. Its fundamental premise is that we should strive to focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, choices, and moral character, and relinquish what we cannot control, which includes external events and the actions or opinions of others. By adhering to this principle, we develop emotional resilience, clarity of mind, and a sense of inner peace that isn't easily shaken by life's ups and downs. Why love needs Stoic wisdom. Love is often described as an overwhelming force. When we fall in love, we experience emotional highs, vulnerability, and heightened sensitivity to another person's actions or approval. While this can be exhilarating, it can also become a trap if we allow our happiness, identity, or self-worth to hinge on someone else's validation. This is where Stoicism enters the picture. By teaching us to anchor our well-being in our own virtue, values, and self-awareness, Stoicism helps us avoid detrimental emotional spirals that commonly arise from romantic attachments. Common pitfalls in love. Jealousy and fear of abandonment, believing we can't live without the other person. Over-identification, losing sight of our own interests, hobbies, and growth. Unrealistic expectations, demanding unwavering attention and perfection from our partner. Emotional roller coasters, reacting impulsively to every perceived slight or shift in the partner's mood. Modern pressures that intensify dependency. Social media, dating apps, and pervasive comparison culture can exacerbate dependency. People frequently measure their relationships against curated online portrayals of perfect couples, leading to self-doubt and demands for constant reassurance. Stoicism provides a remedy by urging us to ground our self-esteem in internal virtues like kindness, courage, integrity, and to measure progress by our own moral and personal development. To truly appreciate how Stoicism can revolutionize your approach to love, we need to explore its key teachings. The dichotomy and trichotomy of control. One of the most cited Stoic principles is the dichotomy of control, famously articulated by Epictetus. It posits that certain things are under our control: our thoughts, intentions, and reactions, while others, like external events, other people's behaviors, are not. Recognizing where our power ends enables us to let go of futile attempts at controlling the uncontrollable. In the context of love, this means differentiating between our realm, our emotional regulation, attitudes, communication style; their realm, our partner's choices, past experiences, and perspectives. While some modern Stoic interpreters propose a trichotomy of control, dividing life into things we have full control over, partial control over, or no control over. For relationships, the classical dichotomy is usually sufficient. If you can't fully dictate your partner's feelings, you also shouldn't sink into anxiety trying to. Instead, concentrate on your own conduct, growth, and capacity for empathy. Virtue as the ultimate good. The Stoics Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus considered virtue the highest form of good. They emphasized four cardinal virtues: practical wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. In the realm of love, these virtues translate into practical wisdom, understanding yourself and your partner realistically, rather than idealizing or demonizing them; courage, being honest about your feelings, setting healthy boundaries, and confronting issues head-on without resorting to passive-aggressive tactics or emotional manipulation; justice, treating your partner fairly, respecting their individuality, and upholding mutual respect; temperance, self-control, moderating impulses, desires, and emotional outbursts, maintaining harmony between reason and affection. When we base our relationships on virtue, acting as a good partner rather than seeking a flawless partner, we shift from dependency to proactive responsibility. We become co-creators of a healthy relationship dynamic rather than pawns of emotional flux. Acknowledging impermanence. Stoics teach us to accept that all external things, including relationships, are subject to change and eventual end. This acceptance isn't meant to be depressing, but rather liberating. By acknowledging a relationship's impermanence, we become more present, grateful, and respectful of the bond we share. Moreover, understanding that love can end for reasons beyond our control helps mitigate the desperate clinging or fear-based behaviors that breed dependency. Before we delve into how Stoicism offers solutions, let's pinpoint what unhealthy dependency looks like and why it's so corrosive. Signs of unhealthy dependency: constant need for reassurance, feeling anxious or incomplete unless your partner continually confirms their love and commitment; lack of personal boundaries, merging your identity so fully with your partner's that you no longer maintain separate hobbies, friendships, or goals; emotional volatility, experiencing dramatic mood swings based on your partner's minor actions, like them being late to respond to a text or spending time with friends without you; idealizing or demonizing, swinging between seeing your partner as perfect and seeing them as the source of all your problems; fear of abandonment, persistently worried that your partner will leave, even with no evidence to support this fear; the emotional toll, Unhealthy dependency drains not only your emotional energy but also that of your partner. It sets up a lopsided dynamic where one person becomes overly reliant and the other feels pressured or suffocated. Over time, resentment can fester, or one partner might struggle under the weight of meeting impossible emotional demands. That's why adopting a Stoic mindset, grounded in self-awareness and self-regulation, is a step toward breaking the cycle. Societal and cultural contributors. Cultural narratives often romanticize the idea of two becoming one, implying that losing oneself in love is noble. Although emotional closeness is a hallmark of a strong relationship, the notion that we must sacrifice personal identity for love is misleading. Cultivating a shared bond while preserving individual autonomy is key. Stoicism, with its emphasis on rational self-reflection, helps us see through these harmful myths. Now we shift from theory to practice. How exactly can you apply Stoic exercises to reduce dependency and maintain a healthier emotional state in love? Negative visualization. Concept. The Stoics suggested occasionally envisioning loss or adversity to deepen gratitude and prepare emotionally for life's uncertainties. In a relationship context, negative visualization involves briefly imagining life without your partner, not to dwell in fear, but to appreciate their presence more mindfully. How to practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Gently envision your life if your partner were gone, maybe they moved away, or the relationship ended. Observe any feelings of sadness or longing that arise, but don't cling to them. Return to the present moment, acknowledging that your partner is still there, and let gratitude flow. Benefits. Heightened appreciation. You become more conscious of your partner's value and avoid taking them for granted. Reduced fear of loss. By mentally rehearsing a worst-case scenario, it becomes less terrifying, and you cultivate emotional resilience. The Stoic pause and reflect. Concept. The Stoic pause is a habit of halting emotional reactivity to reflect on whether a certain trigger is within your control. Epictetus stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." How to practice. When an argument or tense moment arises, resist the urge to lash out or withdraw. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this truly under my control? What virtues can I apply right now? Patience, empathy, honesty. Decide on the most virtuous rather than emotionally charged response. Benefits. Reduced emotional whiplash. Helps you avoid saying hurtful things in the heat of the moment. Promotes rational dialogue, fosters mutual understanding and conflict resolution, strengthening the bond. Journaling for self-awareness. Concept. Daily or weekly journaling is common in modern self-help, but it aligns deeply with Stoicism. Seneca advocated for nightly self-reviews, analyzing his day's actions to glean insights for improvement. How to practice. Pick a consistent time, perhaps before bed. Write down any significant emotional spikes or conflicts with your partner. Ask yourself, what assumptions fueled my emotional reaction? Was I clinging to something out of my control? How could I respond differently next time? Guided by reason and virtue. Benefits. Concrete self-reflection turns vague feelings into actionable insights. Personal growth. You gradually identify patterns of dependency or negativity and replace them with healthier behaviors. Cognitive reframing. Inspired by Stoicism. Concept. Cognitive reappraisal or reframing is a cornerstone of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which has roots in Stoic thought. It involves questioning and altering negative interpretations. How to practice. Recognize a triggering thought like, "My partner is ignoring me. I'm worthless." Challenge it. Is this really true? Or am I catastrophizing? Offer an alternate perspective. Maybe they're busy, or just need alone time. My worth is not defined by their immediate response. Observe how your emotions shift as you adopt a calmer, more stoic perspective. Benefits. Healthier self-esteem. You learn to validate yourself rather than relying solely on external reassurance. Reduced anxiety. By training your mind to question knee-jerk negativity, you decrease the frequency of emotional spirals. Maintaining personal space. Concept. A common symptom of dependency is the erosion of personal boundaries and hobbies. The Stoics valued autonomy and self-discipline, which includes cultivating your own interests, friendships, and sense of purpose outside the relationship. How to practice. Schedule regular time each week to engage in personal hobbies, reading, exercise, art, or spending time with friends. Communicate clearly to your partner that this time enriches you as an individual and makes you a better partner overall. Resist guilt or fear of missing out. Benefits. Fuels individual growth. You bring more to the relationship when you're evolving independently. Mutual respect. Both partners learn to value each other's independence, reducing the risk of codependency. While the techniques outlined above are essential, emotional self-reliance requires a deeper mental shift. This is where Stoic philosophy can transform you from someone easily undone by relational turbulence to someone who maintains composure, dignity, and love without losing your sense of self. Building a core of inner virtue. Stoicism encourages you to root your self-worth in virtues rather than in external circumstances. Instead of measuring your relationship success by how often your partner compliments you or how many romantic gestures you receive, measure it by integrity. Are you honest and genuine with your partner? Kindness. Do you show compassion and empathy? Respect. Do you uphold healthy boundaries and honor theirs? Accountability. When you err, do you own your mistakes? As you cultivate inner virtue, you naturally become less dependent on external validation. A relationship built on shared virtue, rather than on fleeting emotional highs, tends to flourish in the long term. The dangers of passionate attachment. Though passion can be exhilarating, the Stoics warned against becoming a slave to intense emotions. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that external passions, left unchecked, corrupt our judgment. In love, unbridled passion can lead to jealousy, obsessive thoughts, or controlling behavior. The Stoic approach isn't to eliminate passion but to ensure reason steers that passion. By balancing affection with self-possession, you keep your emotional life robust yet grounded. Self-respect is a buffer. When you truly respect yourself, you're less likely to settle for mistreatment or chase after someone who doesn't value you. Stoicism fosters self-respect by clarifying that each individual, as a rational being, carries innate dignity. If your partner's actions or words consistently clash with virtuous conduct, a Stoic mindset helps you stand your ground or even walk away if necessary. This stance isn't about ego or pride, but about recognizing your intrinsic worth and refusing to be complicit in a relationship dynamic that compromises your integrity. To illustrate the power of Stoicism in romantic contexts, let's examine some real-life scenarios where the philosophy resolved or prevented unhealthy dependency. These vignettes are fictionalized composites but reflect common patterns. Elena and Adam, the communication gap. Situation. Elena felt pangs of anxiety whenever Adam spent time with friends or took longer to reply to texts. She believed a loving partner should always want to be in touch. Stoic intervention. After reading Seneca's letters, Elena realized she'd been basing her self-worth on Adam's availability. She practiced journaling each evening, identifying thoughts like, "If he's not texting, he must not love me." She'd then reframe them, "He has his own life. My value doesn't hinge on his constant attention." Outcome. Elena learned to accept Adam's independence, and Adam appreciated the new sense of space. Their relationship stabilized, with fewer petty arguments over messaging habits. David and Chloe. The fear of abandonment. Situation. David, haunted by a past breakup, worried Chloe might leave at any sign of conflict. He'd overcompensate by being overly accommodating, even when he was uncomfortable. Stoic intervention. Reading Epictetus, David embraced the notion that Chloe's ultimate decision to stay or leave was beyond his control. What was in his control? Being forthright, loving, and respectful. He started setting boundaries, declining social events that didn't interest him, calmly discussing issues rather than letting them fester. Outcome. Chloe found David's newfound self-confidence attractive, rather than pushing her away. His honesty deepened their intimacy. David, meanwhile, felt more secure, recognizing he could handle life even if the relationship ended. Arya and Ben, reconciling differences in goals. Situation. Arya wanted to move abroad for career growth, while Ben preferred staying near family. Both felt torn, worried they'd have to sacrifice individual dreams to maintain their bond. Stoic intervention. They applied the dichotomy of control. Neither could force the other to change their ambitions. Instead, they had open, reasoned discussions, Stoic pause and reflect technique. They assessed each other's virtues and life visions. How come they agreed to try a long-distance arrangement for a trial period? Because they focused on cooperative problem-solving rather than fear-driven arguments. They navigated the transition with minimal anxiety. Over time, their relationship either adapted to the distance or concluded amicably, without the bitterness and blame that often accompany parted paths. Some might worry that using Stoic principles in love leads to coldness or emotional detachment. Let's clarify. Stoics don't feel anything. A common myth is that Stoics aim to eradicate emotions. In truth, Stoicism advocates mastery over destructive emotions, not their obliteration. You're still encouraged to experience joy, love, tenderness, just not to let those feelings control your rational judgment. Balanced love is fervent yet grounded, passionate yet clear-eyed. Stoics are self-centered. Stoics place virtue and reason at the heart of their philosophy, which often includes compassion and justice. In a romantic context, being Stoic means being mindful of both your needs and your partner's. You seek harmony and fairness, not a one-sided arrangement. Self-awareness fosters healthy empathy when you aren't consumed by insecure neediness. You can genuinely attend to your partner's emotional well-being. Acceptance of fate means giving up. Stoic acceptance doesn't translate into passivity. While you acknowledge that some aspects of your relationship, like your partner's choices, are beyond your control, you're still empowered to engage constructively, set boundaries, and propose solutions. You accept what you cannot change while striving to act ethically and lovingly with what you can, developing a non-dependent, Stoic approach to love isn't a one-and-done process. It requires ongoing commitment and reflective practice. Here's how to stay on course. Consistent reflection and self-audits. Building on Section 4's journaling method, consider scheduling monthly or quarterly relationship check-ins with both your partner and yourself. Personal check-in. Evaluate whether you've slipped into old dependency patterns or if new insecurities have surfaced. Couple check-in. Openly discuss what's working, what's stressful, and how you can support each other's individual goals. Keep the conversation solution-focused rather than blame-oriented. Balancing rationality and warmth. Stoicism doesn't imply a cold, logical approach to love. Strive for a balance between reason and affection. For instance, you can still plan romantic surprises, share emotional vulnerabilities, and express affection openly. The key is to do so from a place of choice and generosity, not out of fear or compulsion. Adapting to life stages. Relationships evolve. Perhaps you'll marry, move in together, have children, or face professional upheavals. Each new stage can provoke fresh anxieties or dependencies. Stoic principles remain a reliable anchor. Constantly guide yourself back to what's in my control. Am I acting with virtue, courage, and respect for both myself and my partner? By actively applying these questions at each life stage, you preserve a dynamic yet grounded form of love. Though Stoicism emphasizes individual self-discipline, it also recognizes the interconnected nature of human societies. When it comes to relationships, having a supportive circle can reinforce healthy habits. Joining Stoic or personal growth communities, participating in Stoic discussion groups online or offline can provide fresh insights, accountability, and a sense that you're not alone in striving for emotional equilibrium. You may find mentors, friends, or peers who share experiences of applying Stoic wisdom to relationships. Couples studying Stoicism together. If your partner is open to it, studying Stoic concepts as a couple, reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations or Seneca's On Love, can create a shared philosophical framework. This doesn't mean you need identical beliefs, but a common vocabulary of virtues and strategies can make conflict resolution smoother. Avoiding self-righteousness. Be cautious not to weaponize Stoic philosophy in arguments, e.g., "You're not being Stoic enough." The purpose is self-improvement and humility, not imposing standards on others. If your partner isn't interested, that's their prerogative. Focus on applying the principles to yourself, modeling the positive effects that might inspire them naturally. The digital age introduces unique relational hurdles, from ghosting to comparing your relationship to curated social media perfection. Let's see how Stoic wisdom can help you navigate these complexities. Social media pressures. Comparisons. Observing other couples' highlight reels can spark envy or dissatisfaction. The Stoic solution is to remind yourself that appearances don't depict the full truth. Recenter on your own growth and the real dynamics you share with your partner. Boundaries. It's easy to overshare or spiral into jealousy if you see your partner interacting with others online. Apply the dichotomy of control. Respect that your partner's online actions aren't fully yours to dictate. Technology and constant contact. Expectations of instant response. We often expect immediate replies and get anxious when they don't arrive. Remember, Your partner might be busy or simply needing downtime. Again, let go of what's beyond your control. Healthy screen habits, schedule device-free times or activities to reconnect face-to-face. This aligns with Stoic emphasis on being present in the moment and not scatterbrained by external distractions. Navigating hookup culture. If you're single but seeking a mature relationship, the casual or hookup mindset prevalent in modern dating apps can feel disorienting. Stoicism can shield you from cynicism or despair. Clarify your values. Identify what you want. A deeper connection, not fleeting validation. Act and communicate accordingly. Maintain self-respect. Even if someone ghosts you or is uninterested, anchor your self-esteem in your virtues, not in external acceptance. Here, we address a few common questions that arise as people begin integrating Stoic principles into their romantic lives. Can I be both passionate and stoic? Yes. Stoicism doesn't strip away passion, it refines it. A Stoic can feel intense love or excitement while retaining the ability to pause and ensure their actions align with virtue rather than impulsive emotion. What if my partner relies heavily on me emotionally? A Stoic approach doesn't mean shutting them out, it means setting balanced boundaries. Offer empathy, but gently encourage them to develop their own emotional toolkit, so neither of you is overwhelmed by caretaker or caretaker recipient roles. How do I deal with breakups stoically? Allow yourself to grieve. A Stoic acknowledges pain as a natural reaction to loss. However, avoid ruminating on what you can't change. Reflect on what you learned, uphold self-respect, and gradually move forward. Does Stoicism conflict with religious beliefs? Stoicism is a philosophy of ethics and rational living. It can complement many religious or spiritual frameworks. If anything, its emphasis on virtue, humility, and self-awareness can reinforce moral teachings found in various faith traditions. We've covered a vast terrain from the core tenets of Stoicism to practical techniques like negative visualization and Stoic pauses, as well as real-life examples of how these ideas can dramatically improve romantic relationships. At its heart, Stoicism teaches us that true stability, peace, and maturity in love stem from aligning our actions with virtue and reason rather than surrendering to fear, external validation, or constant emotional turmoil. Key takeaways. Focus on what you can control: your thoughts, responses, and virtues. Release what lies outside your power. Cultivate inner virtue. Ground your self-worth in integrity, courage, empathy, and honesty. Practice emotional regulation. Use Stoic exercises, journaling, reframing, mindful pauses to curb impulsive reactions. Maintain a strong sense of self. Preserve personal interests, friendships, and boundaries so love remains a shared journey, not a codependent trap. Value. Don't cling. Embrace the preciousness and impermanence of relationships. Gratitude replaces desperate grasping. Action steps for you. Pick one technique, like negative visualization or the Stoic pause, and apply it consistently for at least a week in your relationship interactions. Reflect on any changes in your emotional responses or sense of security. Share your experience or insights in the comments section. Your story could inspire someone else. If you found this video beneficial, please like it, subscribe to our channel, and consider sharing it with friends who might also struggle with relationship dependency. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future content where we explore more facets of Stoicism, emotional well-being, and personal mastery. Thank you for joining me on this journey toward a healthier, more authentic way to love. Stoicism doesn't make us emotionless robots. It helps us become individuals who can love wholeheartedly while retaining our dignity, autonomy, and inner peace. Here's to forging meaningful relationships anchored in virtue and mutual growth.